I will look for you in every lifetime and love you there.
Today, we're diving into one of South Asia's most powerful and, let's be honest, heartbreaking love stories. It's a tale that's been told and retold for centuries in poems, songs, and movies. This is the incredible, tragic legend of Heer Ranjha. Wow. We're starting with this quote because it really just captures everything, doesn't it? This tells you right away this isn't just a story about falling in love. It's about a love so powerful that even death couldn't stop it. This sets the stage perfectly for the tragedy, but also for their immortal legacy. So to really get the weight of this story, we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to start at the end. I know, it sounds weird, but trust me, because in their death, their love didn't just fade away. It became legendary, a flame that's still burning hundreds of years later. I mean, just think about that for a second. Their final resting place in Jang, Pakistan isn't just some dusty old grave. It's a shrine, a pilgrimage site. People travel there even today to get blessings for their own love lives. That's how you know this story is so much more than a myth. It's a living, breathing piece of history. Okay, so how did this all begin? Let's rewind all the way back to the beginning, to a meeting that nobody saw coming. A meeting where the sound of a simple flute was about to change two lives and history forever. It's time to meet Heer and Ranjha. So first up, we have Heer. And you gotta understand, she isn't just anybody. She's the daughter of a seriously powerful chieftain. Her life is full of privilege, sure, but it's also full of pressure. She's beautiful, she's full of life, but at the end of the day, she's a symbol of her family's honor. Her job is to follow the rules, period. And then there's Ranjha, and he could not be more different. After a big fight with his brothers, he's left with nothing. No home, no money. He's just a heartbroken guy wandering from place to place. The only thing he really has left is his flute, and man, he pours his entire soul into its music. And this is where destiny or fates or whatever you want to call it steps in. Ranjha's so tired from his journey that he falls asleep in a field that happens to belong to Heer's father. At first, she's furious. Who is this guy on her land? But then she hears him play his flute. And that music, it just cuts through everything. Social class, rules, logic, and speaks right to her heart. It's instant. It's electric. So their love starts to grow, but it has to be a secret. Ranjha even gets a job as a cowherd for Heer's dad, just so they can steal these little moments together. But in a world with such strict rules, a connection between a chieftain's daughter and a simple cowherd, well, it was never going to be easy. It was totally, completely forbidden. And this right here, this is really the whole story in a nutshell. On one side, you have this pure, powerful love between two people. And on the other, you have the crushing weight of society, all the rules about family honor and who you're supposed to love. This is the battle they're fighting. Of course, every great tragedy has a villain, right? In this story, it's Heer's uncle, Kaido. He's the one who discovers their secret affair, and driven by jealousy and a twisted sense of honor, he runs straight to Heer's family to expose them. He's the one who lights the fuse. The moment the secret is out, the family's reaction is swift, and it is brutal. To them, this isn't some beautiful romance, oh no. It's a stain on their reputation, and their mission becomes very, very simple. Tear Heer and Ranjha apart no matter what it takes. What happens next is just this cold, calculated plan to destroy their happiness. It's a 3-step plot. First, Kaido finds out. Second, the family forbids them from ever seeing each other again. Ranjha's just a servant after all. And third, the final nail in the coffin. They arrange for Heer to be forcibly married to another man. And just like that, it happens. No matter how much she fights it, Heer is dragged away and forced into a marriage she wants no part of. Ranjha is left completely alone, his music now just filled with sorrow. For all intents and purposes, it looks like their story has come to a very tragic, very final end. But a love like theirs doesn't just die. Years pass. Ranjha, completely lost in his grief, becomes what's known as a jogi, a wandering spiritual ascetic who gives up on the material world. His entire existence becomes about his devotion to Heer, and he just wanders and wanders, until one day, he finally finds her village. It's a 1 in a million shot, but they reconnect, and that spark, it's stronger than ever. They actually manage to convince everyone, Heer's family, even the local king, that their love is real. And unbelievably, the families agree to let them get married. It's this amazing moment of triumph. You really think they've done it. I mean, after all the pain, the years of separation, it really seems like they've won. They went through hell and back, and their love survived. But in a story this full of cruelty, could the ending really be that simple? No, it couldn't. On the day of their wedding, the same family that pretended to accept them shows its true ugly colors. Kaido, that jealous uncle, gives Heer a traditional wedding suite, a laddu, but it's laced with poison. She dies in Ranjha's arms, and he, without a moment's hesitation, eats the rest of the poison sweet and chooses to die right there with her. In that moment of absolute tragedy, something else was born, something that could never die. By choosing to die together, they left the world of mortal lovers and entered the realm of legend. Their story didn't end, it just transformed into something eternal. So why are we still talking about them today? Because it's so much more than a sad story. It's become a symbol of a love that refuses to play by the rules. It's a massive critique of a society that cares more about honor than happiness. It's a foundational piece of folklore that has inspired art for centuries, and still does. And that kind of leaves us with this big question, why do the love stories that we remember the most, the ones that really stick with us, so often end in tragedy? Maybe it's because a love that's willing to face death itself becomes immortal. Heer and Ranjha lost their lives, yeah, but in doing so, they found a way to be together for eternity.
Hello and welcome. Today we are jumping into one of the most fascinating puzzles in all of literature, the story of Heer Ranjha, and why its tragic ending is actually its greatest strength.
So here's the big question, right? We're talking about one of the most epic romances ever told, and it completely flips the script on the classic fairy tale. So why do we love it so much? Why does the heartbreak make it even more powerful? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
Okay, first things first. Let's really dig into this paradox. The idea that this is a tragedy that we as a culture absolutely adore.
I mean, think about it. Since we were kids, we're told stories where the heroes win and everyone lives happily ever after. But Heer Ranjha, which is such a cornerstone of South Asian folklore, does the complete opposite. It dives right into the heartbreak, and for some reason, that makes it so much more memorable.
And this really gets to the heart of it. You literally can't separate the legend of their love from the tragedy of how it all ended. The sadness is what makes it immortal. But to really get why, we need to look way beyond just a simple romance story.
And that brings us to our first major insight. This story isn't just about love, it's an incredible act of rebellion. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. You see, on one side, you've got everything their love stood for. Individual choice, a deep personal connection that didn't care about social status. But then, on the other side, you have the crushing weight of their world. These rigid ideas about family honor, strict tribal laws, and a social caste system you just couldn't escape. Their love was a direct challenge to all of it.
So here's the thing you have to understand. Their death isn't about their love failing. No way. It's a powerful critique of a society that couldn't handle a love so pure. The tragic ending is basically a huge warning sign, a piece of social commentary that is, honestly, just as relevant today.
But that social critique, that's only scratching the surface. To really, truly understand why the story has lasted for centuries, we have to go even deeper. into the spiritual side of things. And that's where Sufism comes in. Understanding this mystical tradition is like finding the secret key to the entire story. See, it's all about the soul's intense, burning desire to reunite with the divine, with God.
So when you put on those Sufi glasses, you start to realize, oh, this isn't just about a guy and a girl who are in love. No, it's a giant metaphor for something so much bigger.
And here's where that metaphor comes to life. See, Heer isn't just Heer. She represents the human soul itself. And Ranjha, he's not just her lover, he's a symbol for the divine, for God. All those struggles, that painful separation they go through, well, that's just the soul's difficult journey on earth, always yearning to get back to its source. And that means their death? Well, it's not an ending at all. It's the final, beautiful, ultimate union.
Exactly. Through this lens, the entire tragedy gets turned on its head. What looks like a devastating loss on the surface is actually the soul's greatest victory on a spiritual level. They had to leave this world behind to finally, truly be together.
So it's this powerful 1-2 punch, a story of social rebellion and a deep spiritual allegory that explains why Heer Ranjha has echoed through the centuries.
And you can see that echo so clearly right here. It all started with Waris Shaw's epic poem back in 1766, which made the story famous. From there, it wove itself into the fabric of folk songs and stories passed down by word of mouth. Then, boom! The 20th century hits and it inspires countless classic films. And even today, artists all over the world are still finding new ways to tell this story. Its themes are just that timeless.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The tragic ending for Heer and Ranjha wasn't the end of their story. It was the very thing that made sure it would never, ever be forgotten.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. Let's go back to our big question. Why do we cherish this tragedy? At the end of the day, the tragedy of Heer Ranjha resonates so deeply for a few key reasons. First, it makes us feel seen in our own struggles against injustice. Second, it gives us this beautiful spiritual metaphor for our own soul's journey. And maybe the biggest lesson of all, it proves that a story packed with meaning is way more powerful than one with just a simple happy ending.
And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? The story of Heer Ranjha kind of suggests that the tales that stick with us aren't always the ones that make us feel comfortable. They're the ones that give meaning to our struggles. It really makes you ask yourself, what do I really want from a story? Comfort or meaning? Thanks for joining me.